focusing on oneself is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism that emphasizes self-reflection, personal growth, and inner peace. By turning inward, one can cultivate mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, which ultimately benefit not only oneself but also others. Below, I'll outline key principles and practices of Buddhist wisdom that encourage self-focus in a meaningful, transformative way. 1. Understanding the self, the illusion of a separate. In Buddhism, the concept of self is viewed as an illusion, an ever-changing flow of experiences rather than a fixed identity. This notion challenges the typical understanding of self and identity. The Buddha taught that clinging to a permanent self, or of ego, leads to suffering dukkha. The self is made up of 5 aggregates: skandhas: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Each of these is impermanent and dependent on countless causes and conditions, so there's no stable self to cling to. By recognizing this, focusing on oneself becomes less about egoistic goals and more about understanding one's thoughts, emotions, and reactions as transient experiences. The goal is to release attachment and cultivate a balanced, peaceful state of mind. As a practical approach, meditation and mindfulness are essential tools to see through the illusion of a fixed self and reduce self-centered thinking. 2. Mindfulness and presence, observing the mind. Mindfulness, or sati in Pali, is the practice of maintaining a clear, non-judgmental awareness of the present moment. It allows one to observe thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations without becoming entangled in them. The Buddha emphasized mindfulness in his teachings, particularly through the Satipatthana Sutta, where he outlined the 4 foundations of mindfulness: mindfulness of the body, feelings, mind, and mental phenomena. Practicing mindfulness helps individuals detach from distractions and focus on their inner world. As one becomes more mindful, self-awareness grows, revealing unhelpful patterns of thinking and behavior. This process allows one to gain insight into their conditioned responses, enabling them to choose more skillful actions that align with peace and kindness. A simple way to practice mindfulness is through breath meditation. Observing the breath provides an anchor for the mind, keeping it grounded in the present. Over time, this practice leads to greater mental clarity, emotional stability, and resilience, helping one become more attuned to their true nature. #3. The Noble Eightfold Path, a guide to self-transformation. Buddhism offers the Noble Eightfold Path as a practical framework for self-transformation. This path is a step-by-step guide to cultivating moral, mental, and wisdom qualities, ultimately leading to liberation from suffering. The Eightfold Path consists of 1. Right understanding, cultivating a deep understanding of the nature of reality, including the impermanence and interconnectedness of all things. 2. Right intention, setting intentions that align with compassion, kindness, and non-harm. 3. Right speech, practicing honesty, avoiding gossip, slander, and harmful words. 4. Right action, engaging in ethical actions that respect the well-being of others. 5. Right livelihood, choosing a way of living that does not harm others and contributes positively to society. 6. Right effort, cultivating positive mental states and letting go of unwholesome thoughts. 7. Right mindfulness, developing continuous awareness of one's body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. 8. Right concentration, practicing meditation to develop a calm and focused mind. By following this path, one can foster a wholesome self that embodies peace, compassion, and understanding. Rather than focusing on external achievements, the path encourages individuals to look within, cultivating inner qualities that lead to long-lasting happiness. #4. Meditation, the path to inner clarity and peace. Meditation is central to Buddhist practice and serves as a powerful tool for self-reflection. Through meditation, practitioners develop concentration, wisdom, and compassion. There are several types of meditation practices in Buddhism, with 2 primary forms being samatha, calming meditation, and vipassana, Insight meditation. Samatha meditation. This involves focusing on a single object, such as the breath, to calm the mind. By concentrating on the present moment, practitioners experience mental stillness and peace, allowing them to break free from incessant mental chatter. Vipassana meditation. This is the practice of insight, where one observes bodily sensations, thoughts, and emotions to understand their impermanent nature. By realizing that all experiences arise and fade, one can cultivate detachment, reducing attachment to fleeting emotions and thoughts. Meditation fosters self-awareness and equips practitioners to manage stress, anxiety, and other mental challenges. It enables them to respond to life's difficulties with wisdom and equanimity, rather than reacting impulsively or out of fear. Through meditation, focusing on oneself becomes an act of deep self-discovery and liberation from negative patterns. ####5. Practicing loving kindness and compassion. In Buddhism, focusing on oneself does not mean neglecting others. In fact, true self-focus includes developing compassion for oneself and others. The Buddha emphasized that cultivating loving kindness, *metta*, and compassion, *karuna*, is essential for inner peace and genuine happiness. One method of cultivating loving kindness is the metta bhavana meditation, where practitioners wish happiness and well-being for themselves and then extend those wishes to others, including friends, neutral people, and even those with whom they have conflicts. This practice reduces self-centeredness and fosters a sense of connection with all beings. Compassionate self-focus involves embracing one's own suffering with gentleness and understanding, which, in turn, enables one to offer the same compassion to others. Through loving kindness, focusing on oneself transforms into an inclusive, altruistic practice that deepens one's empathy and reduces feelings of isolation and separation. 6. Impermanence. Anicca, embracing change. A key teaching in Buddhism is impermanence, or anicca. Everything in existence is in a constant state of flux, and clinging to permanence leads to suffering. When one accepts impermanence, they can approach life with flexibility and acceptance. Focusing on oneself through the lens of impermanence means cultivating resilience in the face of change. Instead of trying to maintain a rigid identity or unchanging expectations, one learns to flow with life's inevitable shifts. By accepting impermanence, individuals can handle loss, disappointment, and adversity with grace, finding strength in adaptability rather than in control. 7. Non-attachment. Anatta, letting go of clinging. The concept of non-attachment, anatta, encourages letting go of attachments to both material things and mental constructs. This teaching is closely related to the idea of no self, as it involves releasing identification with the ego. Non-attachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent. Instead, it's about engaging with life without clinging. In this way, self-focus is about understanding and observing one's attachments, identifying their sources, and learning to let go. Practicing non-attachment allows for greater freedom and peace, as one no longer needs to rely on external things for happiness. For example, when faced with a difficult relationship or a challenging situation, a person practicing non-attachment will observe their feelings, recognize any attachments, and refrain from allowing these emotions to dictate their actions. By detaching, they can respond more wisely and compassionately, focusing on their well-being and acting from a place of balance rather than reactivity. 8. Right view. Wisdom and understanding. Right view or understanding is the foundation of the Buddhist path. It's the wisdom that recognizes the truths of impermanence, suffering, and no self. Focusing on oneself with right understanding involves examining one's life in the light of these truths. This reflection helps dismantle illusions and attachments, leading to a clearer, more profound sense of peace. Through right view, one cultivates a realistic and compassionate perspective on life. By understanding that suffering is part of the human experience, Practitioners can approach their challenges with kindness and patience. With right view, focusing on oneself becomes a practice of aligning with reality, letting go of delusion, and fostering a healthy outlook rooted in compassion and wisdom. 9. Karma, the law of cause and effect. Karma, the law of cause and effect, emphasizes personal responsibility. Every action, whether a body, speech, or mind, has consequences that affect one's life. By focusing on oneself, one becomes more mindful of their actions and their impact. Practicing wise and ethical conduct, as prescribed by the Noble Eightfold Path, helps cultivate positive karma and contributes to a harmonious life. Understanding karma empowers individuals to focus on self-improvement. Instead of blaming external factors, one can reflect on how their choices shape their reality and future experiences. Karma encourages self-discipline and mindfulness, fostering a responsible, compassionate approach to life. 10. The middle way, balance and moderation. The middle way is a core Buddhist principle that advocates for balance and moderation. In practical terms, it means avoiding extremes, whether of indulgence or self-denial. Focusing on oneself through the middle way involves understanding one's needs and limitations, allowing for a balanced approach to life. This path encourages one to nourish the body, mind, and spirit without overindulgence or suppression. By cultivating balance, one can avoid burnout and sustain a peaceful, centered state of mind. The middle way supports healthy self-focus that is free from attachment, aversion, or self-harm. Conclusion: focusing on oneself through the wisdom of Buddhism is not a self-centered endeavor, but a journey toward inner freedom, compassion, and understanding. By practicing mindfulness, meditation, loving kindness, and embracing the truths of impermanence, one can dismantle the illusion of self, release attachment, and cultivate a balanced, compassionate existence. Ultimately, the Buddhist path of self-focus is about achieving clarity, inner peace, and a deep sense of connectedness to all beings. It is a transformative process that leads to personal liberation and fosters a compassionate heart, benefiting oneself and the world. Through consistent practice, one can embody the Buddhist ideals of wisdom, kindness, and equanimity, making self-focus a powerful force for personal and collective well-being.